All right, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Tuesday night. March 4th is the date, 2025 is the year, 10:23 in the PM out here in California. Latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D globe. Just double check here, 3.7 up into Alaska. Right up there in the green flag. Also a little bit of activity stirring up here at southwestern Wyoming with a 3.2 earthquake stirring up around Rock Springs, just outside of Little America, Wyoming. Very shallow crustal quake here stirring up out here off of Highway 30. Let's see what we got going on here for the satellite view. Not for sure specifically what's going on, but we got something here. That kind of looks like a truck stop. That's what I'm guessing out there, right? After long hours on the interstate, a nice place to pull off, get some gas and some fuel, and get some R&R going on. It looks like I think that's a truck stop out there. I don't know. Maybe someone let me know. But this earthquake, again, very shallow. Negative 1.1. That means that it's a very shallow surface fracture going on out here. South of Yellowstone. By the way, Yellowstone National Park up here. A couple earthquakes outside of Hebgen Lake. And, interesting news here. Let me make sure I got the most recent data here from Yellowstone right now. It looks as though that email I sent out yesterday here to the University of Utah has triggered someone investigating the time frame out here. So we're back on schedule. How about that? Right? Because before, if we were to look at these timestamps out here, or at least the data coming in, this would be 12 hours behind. And this is up to date, 10:30. 22:30 here local time. That's the three-pointer stirring up right there in southwestern Wyoming. So, hey, thank you very much, there, University of Utah, for listening to the emails coming in there and putting your data back online and matching up the time frame here, because this was 12 hours behind here. Like, for example, let me show you guys. Let me back out here real quick. If we were looking at this Hebgen Lake activity here, this would not be showing up tonight. Literally yesterday or this morning, if we were to check prior to the email I sent, we would be looking at 10:30 in the morning, so roughly about here or so. But hey, things are back online. That's as they should be. Sometimes it takes a little bit of notification to the right person to produce the correct results out here. So we're in line here where we should be. So that three-pointer stirring up here, we can see it there on the seismograph stations. Not a big earthquake, not a lot of earthquake activity stirring up out here. There's that three-pointer stirring up way south here within the last hour. A couple smaller microquakes out there across the Hebgen Lake area. Nothing major going on across Yellowstone. Still looking at subsidence, not inflation out there across Yellowstone, subsidence. Inflation across Yellowstone obviously means swelling, but since about 2016 or so, things have been on the decline out here across the super volcano, and that is good news. Go ahead and check out California, see what's going on out here. A couple earthquakes outside of the Eureka area. That's the Northern California region here, 2.5, 1.7, southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. So, of course, what goes on there across the Cascadia is a result of the tremor activity occurring down there. A little bit down at the extreme southern end of the Cascadia. Look at that. Sacramento Valley area seeing a little bit of tremor activity. Also up here across Northern California and Southern Oregon. With this movement right here at the extreme southern end, I expect probably to see here a little bit of elevated activity upstream. That means across the area of the plate boundary. That's Eureka area southward, right within this area right here. We should see some elevated activity here overnight, possibly tomorrow as well, with that tremor count occurring down here across the extreme southern end of the Cascadia. That's been the migrating factor out here recently. So we'll continue to watch that. Some movement out there in the volcanic fields of the Sheldon National Wildlife Refuge. That used to be called the Sheldon National Antelope Refuge. I was out here a few years ago investigating a big earthquake swarm out here. Not like this activity we're seeing right now. This is only a couple twos. But back in, I think it was 2016 to 2017, there was a swarm of earthquakes out here. I drove out here from Northern California on dirt roads to investigate what was going on here for the YouTube channel. And, man, there is nothing out there at all. There was a little conservation camp where some conservation workers were working, about 4 people or so, but there's no houses, no utilities, nothing going on out here on these dirt roads. All volcanic, and it's all pretty much obsidian rock from the volcanic activity that was in the past here. But yeah, I mean, it's obvious to see some earthquake activity still to this date following previous volcanic activity, many years past. So just due to the pressurization out here across the West Coast. Up around the Victoria area, a couple smaller earthquakes throughout the day today. Of course, that 4.7? Let's see, man, what we got? 48 earthquakes? That's a lot of earthquake activity up there. And from what I hear, that's a thrust fault up there across the area. 4.5 thrust fault producing some earthquakes up there. Let's see what else we got here across the West Coast. Look at check out the creeping segment here of the San Andreas Fault, and just off the Parkfield segment. Well, looks like it's just north here of the Parkfield segment, which sits a little bit further south here. But we got a lot of activity stirring up down here in the 1-2 range, more so than normal. Nothing going on here across the Parkfield segment. That is up. Next in line. You're next, for the Price is Right. Here we go. Step on up to the plate. Big earthquake coming out here across the Parkfield segment pretty soon. And I say that just not out of blabbering. This is something that takes place out here on every 20 to 22 year interval. It's been common. Every 20 to 22 years or so, we see a 6-pointer out here across this segment of the San Andreas Fault. Look it up. I've covered this quite a few times here in the past. And the last one, check it out, 2024. So, that was, man, that's crazy. I think it was that long ago here. 19 years ago? 20? Oh no, that would be 21 years ago. Yikes! I'm getting old. That's scary. That is scary. Well, I'm not scared of age. Age is good. I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready. I think of SpongeBob when I say I'm ready. 1.8 North Hollywood. So this is in the area where that earthquake struck here just a couple days ago. Right? You guys remember that earthquake? I think quite a few folks out there across the southern portion of the state of California remember that 3.8 North Hollywood. And since then, a number of aftershocks, including one more aftershock here of a 1.8 within the last hour. 19 earthquakes recorded out here in the area of this region where that 3.8 struck here. So watch that. If you think about this, aftershock sequences are just a result of increasing pressure out here, right? Think about it, right? So a big earthquake is a result of all the pressure that's occurring out here in the region. But increasing movement, increasing pressure continues the increasing aftershock sequences out here. So pressure is continuing to increase out here across Southern California. And, it's obvious right now. It has been in the past few months. Last year was a big, 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 big important year for four-pointers out here across Southern California. Really surprised we haven't had a big earthquake out here across San Andreas Fault yet. But we've seen more earthquakes last year in 2024 of a 4.0 magnitude and above, far as general coverage goes. More so last year than compared to any other time since the mid-'80s. That's not fear-mongering. That is straight facts right there. So one earthquake down here south, one of the more recent earthquakes, a 1.1. Let's see what we got. 2.5 and above removes all the earthquakes there, but, the news, the general news out there, if you look at KTLA or whichever news agency you watch, pretty much they're only going to show you one earthquake. Check this out, guys. There's been a 3.8 out here in North Hollywood. That's a big deal. That was felt all over the place. But they don't show you all the earthquakes, right? That's even a bigger deal. That's aftershock sequences out there. So the news agencies out there that you guys watch and social media pages, they normally only show you the felt reports. But these are all earthquakes nonetheless. So 19 earthquakes in total tally across the North Hollywood area, just outside of Burbank. Watch that area. It's as they mentioned here, it's a unnamed fault system here, and if I actually had an email here. Someone mentioned to me here recently to include the moment sensor. This is a beach ball format of how the earthquake was felt in the region, at least what type of fault system this struck on. And I'll explain this a little bit more here as I go about my videos. I don't want to overwhelm too many people with this because it tells you whether this is a thrust fault, if it's pointing to the northeast, to the southeast, to the southwest, or strike slip boundary. It's a lot of data to soak in all at once. So I will explain this more in my videos, and that was actually requested here by a viewer, and I think it's relevant. But I do need to explain everything in that aspect of the beach ball out here first. So we'll cover that here in a future video. And I think that will help everyone understand whether it's a thrust fault, whether it's a dipping to the south, dipping to the north type of earthquake activity. All right. Let's see what we got out here. All right. Texas, Oklahoma. We've got a pretty good swarm going on out here. What's going on out here across the Oklahoma area? You guys want to guess what's out here? I don't know if they have it listed up here on their map yet. Back out here for a little bit. Grayscale. Satellite. Is it going to be the street view that tells us this? Well, sometimes if you look at this USGS map, it will show you guys what's out here, and that's some oil fields out here. I do see some. It's not completely littered with oil fields, but that doesn't mean that there's some old oil fields out here. But we got a swarm of earthquake activity out here around the Tuttle area of Oklahoma, and there's a lot. I don't know what this area is. It does look like a community, but who's to say there's not some old oil fields prior to that community? Obviously, I can see some in the checkered boxes out here. These are oil pumping operations. There's a number of tanks out there. But yeah, there's definitely a decent earthquake swarm out there across the area. About 33 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Outside, southwest of the OKC area. New Madrid seismic zone, pretty quiet. What do we got for worldwide earthquake activity? Well, today, how about that? A 5.4 across India. Whoop-de-doo. I say that because, well, I don't say that to downplay it, but that's a a very weak earthquake here for the last 24 hours. Things are calm right now across the global scale of things. If you look at the earthquake 3D here, man, we are quiet. That 5.4, by the way, is fairly deep here into the area of the. It's a plate boundary actually, 55 miles deep here into the subduction. It looks like a subduction zone here, off the plate, or just very close to the plate boundary. Aside from that, goodness, we are awfully quiet out here. No unusual activity to note here across the globe. Could this be the calm before the storm? If you look here, though, there is definitely a noticeable pattern here across the India area, north of Myanmar region. This area right here got a little bit of movement stirred up out here in the last 24 hours. That's notable, including a 4.7, 5.1. Ultimately, a little bit later, some hours later, we get some deeper activity up north. So it looks like this whole area right here may be strained. And that region right there, man, it can get some big earthquakes out there across the plate boundary. And that's been one region that has not seen any large activity recently here. 7-pointer up here across the Himalayas. Kind of curious. Let's go check it out while we're at it here. So let's see what we have. We're going to go 6.0. I just want to look at recent. Well, you know what? Let's go back. I can change my mind, right? I think I'm human. I can change my mind. We'll look up here on the map, and we're gonna go across. They're still working on their maps out here. I can tell. The plate boundary is not even on here, so I have to look here and see where we're at. So we're gonna be around this Bin, Myanmar area, which is gonna be right about here. Hello, there we go. And we'll take a look here what we have historical data just as far as large earthquake activity goes, right? I pulled up 6-pointer and above. Yeah, they're definitely still working on their maps here as far as the layouts go. But it shows 44 earthquakes here since records have been kept. I think I put the year 1000 or so in there. And this area of the plate boundary, right? If you zoom in here where we're seeing that current earthquake activity, yeah, we can get some large earthquake activity out here. 7.9, that's well off the plate boundary here, but around this area, 6.5, 1948 Myanmar area, 7-pointer, 1938. A lot of time has passed out here. 6.1 Myanmar, 1964. So yeah, we may be looking at some earthquake activity out here soon. And I say that because of the noticeable increase in the earthquake movement out here around the Burma area. That bouncing back and forth here. So watch that area pretty closely. Could see some larger scale movement soon. The Hawaii area, yeah, episode number 12 happened today. I'll show you guys here real quick. We were seeing that earlier. It's still going on there. Pretty spectacular fountaining. I think I called it there last night. I said we would either see it tonight or early tomorrow morning, which would be this morning. And sure enough, there we go. It's a spectacular sight to see there across Kilauea Volcano. What is that? Oh, never mind. It's weird getting bombarded with ads and stuff like that. Fountaining during episode 12 is occurring there today, both along the north and south vents. So, what do you think? What do you think is happening with the deformation data? Right, it's going down. Right, let's go check it out real quick. Yeah, look at that! Boom! That's a huge displacement there of magma, but not below the ground, but through an eruption there at the Kilauea volcano. So that is expected. I say expected because it's been happening here over the past, 12 episodes, the past couple months or so. So the general trend out here will probably continue. There's our inflation eruption right here. Inflation eruption, and so on. So here's our most recent eruption right here. We're going down, following that similar trend, and I don't see any change in that, folks. The only thing that would change that is a blockage here at the crater area. But everything's is nicely free flowing up there across the Kilauea crater area. And that is probably the best scenario for right now. But I don't see anything of abnormal activity across the eastern rift zone. It's best that magma funnel up to the Kilauea crater area and fill up as it's expected. All right, space weather activity, solar ham site here, Kevin. Good old Kevin, bless his heart. He's got his site up here still. Basically what's going on with this site is everything that we're normally used to, as far as the function activity goes, except for the manual inputs. But I'm here to provide the manual inputs for you. Everything that you guys need to know as far as any potential solar flare, any aurora activity is easily accessible from any of these input stations here that he has here. And that includes a magnetogram image, which we'll go ahead and check this out real quick. Let's see what's going on here. Here's the latest magnetogram image, which I don't know what's going on here. He might be slowing down here a little bit. I don't think it's me, but I'm sure having a slowdown. Is it me? No, it's not me, because everything's working good on that. It looks like it's the solar ham site and the transfer from the computer or the internet traffic to the official site here, which is the SDO. So, all right. Try not to be too technical here. I want to provide just the data, but sometimes I have to explain that. We do have an area back over here across the eastern quadrant of the sun. Still fairly complex out there, but also notice an area down here across the southwestern quadrant of the sun, getting a little bit of complexity as well. But that system here, that little sunspot, will be out of sight, out of mind here in the coming days. Not really too concerned with that. Even if it does produce an M or X flare, which I don't think it will, that will be away from the Earth, not Earth directed. So we're left with this area right here. Aside from that, everything's quiet, very quiet. So solar flare threat, I've produced mine at, I don't see the 5%. This is just what he's predicting here. I have a 1%, about 50% chance for an M flare that I am forecasting. And I say that because I've been studying these for many years. I am knowledgeable in the space weather aspect of things, and I know what I'm talking about out here, so to speak. So when I call it my forecast, I do my own forecasting here. This is just what the solar ham site is forecasting. As far as the aurora activity goes, I mean, weren't they forecasting up to a G1 class storm? But I was pretty skeptical. Yeah, that's not happening. Still forecasting their G1 class storm. Really nothing in the forecast, nothing happening out there. So, as I mentioned a couple videos back, this was from a CME that was on the southeastern quadrant of the sun that blasted off a few days ago. It missed us, plain and simple. According to the data here, I'm not seeing any effects whatsoever of any impactful CME. There is a coronal hole right here that will be facing us soon that may amplify conditions out there for the auroras in the coming days, but there's nothing of anything that would say like, hey, let's call up so and so, there's a big solar storm coming in. Nothing. Sorry. All right, space weather activity. Storm prediction center. Space weather activity. Weather activity out here. There's a lot to cover in geology and space science, right? Definitely a lot. So severe weather shifting east overnight and into the day tomorrow. Got an enhanced area out there for some tornado activity, wind and hail. Well, no hail threats. That's left in the Texas and Oklahoma. It never seems to happen over here. But tornado and wind threats out there for tonight and tomorrow. Got to be cautious of that. That massive bomb low pressure system out there across up in Illinois and man, all over the place out there. Eastern Nebraska or eastern Kansas. That low pressure system's quickly drifting off to the northeast. Another low pressure system out here across the Great Basin area. California, man. Well, where I'm at, we're expecting quite a bit of rainfall out here. The models are a little inconsistent right now, but they change left and right. It's crazy. Earlier today when I was checking it, right about here, it showed a massive amount of moisture coming up from the Gulf, providing some severe weather across Texas around this time period. But look, it's completely gone. So it's hard to say that far out. March 19th, here we are March 4th. So don't, that far out, we can't really be all that specific. So it can change. Near term, though, it's it's going to be severe weather out here across the east for the next night or so. Let's see what else is going on here, folks. I'm going to take a quick gander at the West Coast map. There's that one earthquake there outside of Hollywood. Still got some stress out here. It's interesting because even though we got elevated activity out here across a fault system that has been relatively quiet, it's everything else is quiet out here. So we're coming up to a maximum pressurization event across various fault systems, right? So if you think about it, the plate boundary out here accumulates most of the strain and stress. When things are compacted, other areas back up here accumulate strain, such as the San Andreas or the San Jacinto Fault Zone, the Elsinore Fault, East Montebello Fault, Malibu Fault. All other areas start to accumulate strain and stress. But when everything's compacted, then you see various zones that have not been active in many years start to show accumulated stress. So things are building out here. And that's the way I picture it in my mind in terms of the stress out here. Obviously, anything can happen at any given time, so we just got to be prepared, folks. Got to be prepared. All right, I'm out of here. Look at the seismograph stations here. One earthquake, a little spike of an earthquake there on Yellowstone. Aside from that, pretty quiet across the board. Have yourself a good evening. We are out of here. We'll catch you guys out here for the, Wednesday? Wednesday morning update tomorrow morning. Stay safe.